Live from Nashville, Tennessee, it's Gardening Inside Out, featuring a panel of experts giving you plant advice for any space in your life. Without further ado, Josh Carey and David Bates.
Yeah. There you go. That's a quick edit.
I tried.
That's okay. It is not actually. It's not just Josh Carey and David Bates.
No, we got the cat team.
No, we
That's
got
right.
the JD Cat team.
Yeah, JD Cat.
Yeah, Josh and David, Caroline, Austin, and Tyler right there. Good. So
And Josh Carey and David
somebody's
Bates.
device is still talking.
Well, we're trying to share the social media over there on YouTube. So.
Welcome in, everyone. We're really glad to have you aboard this morning, and we're going to be talking about the things that are impactful to your garden, and there are different challenges depending on what's going on climatically, the time of year. We will be talking considerably today about watering and the need for it, which is really kind of unusual in November because we're usually getting some rain.
Yeah.
But we did get a smidge yesterday, but it was only a smidge. It was not enough to rectify any drought conditions. We'll talk more about that as we go through. Let's get right into the weather here and see if we can glean and squeeze a little water out of the forecast. And I will just tell you quickly, not much. Today's Saturday, 11/11. And so, welcome
Happy Veterans Day.
Yes. Is this the actual day or was yesterday the day?
Today's the actual day. I looked it up today.
So, anyway, yesterday was the observed day.
Yes.
So, anyway, thank you for the service of all of our veterans. Today is Saturday, the 11th, and it's going to be 64 degrees and mostly sunny today. Maybe just a few clouds. Nothing of consequence. It's going to be a glorious day, as is tomorrow, 68-40. We are settling into a decidedly more typical temperature range. The last couple of weeks have been an aberration where we have been in the upper 70s to 80s, a little warmer than it ever should be this time of year, but it appears that we are transitioning into the autumn season. Monday, 69-44. Clouds roll in on Tuesday, 65-47. Perhaps a few showers. Wednesday morning, it could be, in the Thursday, a little showers.
Yeah.
Maybe a tenth of an inch all total. Cloudy again on Friday. Sunny again on Saturday, a week out. Really much the same as today, as Sunday. And so all it is, it's really a nice forecast. 37 degrees currently. And just quickly to show you what we actually got in the 24-hour period. A bit of that happened prior to midnight. Some of it happened before midnight.
Yeah.
The rest of it happened afterwards. We definitely are in a stretch where that I don't know where my precipitation. There it is.
Where?
Right there.
Over there?
Yeah, 44.37 for the year. We received 20.29 for the week, which actually means that we got 0.27. So we got a couple of hundredths of an inch of rain before midnight. It was really light. The good news is every bit of that
helps
soaked in because it was very slow. It was a very light rain. So again, 37 degrees here in the Music City, live from the green room, gardening inside out.
Yep. Now, wouldn't you hate to have to be worried about a mandatory evacuation for a volcano,
yes,
people?
And we'll just drop over to that one quickly. And this is Icelandic earthquakes. Thousands told to evacuate over volcanic eruption fears as UK gives travel warning, and the travel warning specifically with regard to air travel.
Don't fly through the dust cloud.
Well, they won't because it'll destroy an engine like these $1 million engines. So just be mindful of that. The entire town of Grandvik has been asked to leave as a precaution. I think they would only have to ask me once.
Really?
Yes. I think I would voluntarily leave. I would be trying to get out of Iceland because if it is a really large event. It could be weeks before you could get a flight out to go anywhere.
I mean, this thing could blow up. It's a big deal. I mean, it's right there where the two continental plates come together and they kind of spread apart, and then they're moving around, and then it's just...
Yeah. So anyway, it's...
And we got problems with the drought. Come on.
Drought comparatively is a minor thing. At least our ground is staying in the same place. So it's not becoming atomized anyway.
5 meters, you said, that the ground had risen?
In some spots, yes.
That's 15 feet plus, people.
No.
5 times 3 is 15.
It's like 21 feet is about what it is.
Is it really?
Yeah, thereabouts.
It's 3.1 meters, what, 1.3?
Anyway.
Okay. It's a big bunch of bump in the ground, folks.
It's quite a lot. You don't want to...
Caroline's eyes are glazing over
you
over
don't
here.
Want to play with it. Speaking of Caroline, let's bring them in. Caroline, Gant, Austin Lowen, welcome in, guys.
Good morning.
Glad to have you along today. And Austin walked into the studio this morning.
He's perturbed.
He's talking... big talk about things going on in his landscape. You know, he's been the recipient of, an unfair amount of grief from all of us. And today, maybe he's either going to participate or he's going to rectify the situation and explain what's going on in his yard. Good morning to you, Austin.
Good morning. And yes, I will. I'm not going to start yet. I'm still gathering thoughts, but I'm going to get y'all's thoughts this morning on something that I should maybe do or not do.
There's a soapbox being built.
Like I said, I'm going to make y'all wait.
Yeah, in the words of the great Yoda, there is no try. There's only do or not do. So. Hey, good morning, Caroline. How are you today?
Hi, good morning.
Okay.
Trying to do a lot of things at one time.
Well,
you're
do have
over your phone this morning.
We do have a lot going on, and we're pretty easy to get in touch with. You can either reach us through either of our primary social media functions, through Facebook, it's Gardening Inside Out, or Instagram under the same name, Gardening Inside Out. We also have a Gardening Inside Out.
Bates Nursery, so I mean, if people are following it there, that's monitored as well. So.
Yep. So get with us, and because the questions we answer are your questions, they're the things you email us or message us about. We talk about those things here on the program. One of the things we're going to lead out with today, though, and it's the essence of the newsletter that I wrote this week, was with respect to drought. And if you are a recipient of my newsletter, you had a chance to look at that. Also, the U.S. Drought Monitor website, which shows the state of our drought. In the Middle Tennessee area, we are in a significant drought area, but just to the south, it becomes severe, and then below that, it goes to extreme. So it's something to be mindful of.
Yep.
We've, the little bit of rain that we got yesterday certainly was welcome, but it's a dust settling event. It's not more than that. So you need to be mindful of keeping things watered, not just things you've planted this year or in the last few weeks.
Last year's stuff, too,
things that have been in the ground for a while. Austin, talk about that and how people can be lulled into a sense of false security with regard to their watering in drought times.
And definitely with conifers, specifically arborvitae. I know a lot of you use arborvitae. It's a great selling plant for us. And the emerald green arborvitae is probably our number one selling conifer, and it's a tall, skinny, kind of evergreen, either screen or something you put on the corner of your homes. Even if you planted that last year and it went through the winter, made it through all spring and did all fine, right now, you need to think about keeping it a little bit moist because it is dry. It's very dry. And arborvitae, as we've talked about before, does not have a very deep root system. It doesn't seek its own water very well. It really sits on top and kind of has a lateral root system. And so watering with those, it can be crucial. I saw on my way in to work the other day, I saw a big arborvitae on the corner of a home, just literally 2 minutes up the road from here. And it's on the corner, and it's big. It's probably 12, 14 foot. But it is turning brown and not from the interior out. If it's browning from the interior, that's one thing. It's a shed that happens with arborvitae. If it's browning from the outside in, then that means it's probably dry. And I got a bad feeling that homeowner is going to lose that arborvitae if they don't get out there and water it.
Oh, no.
That's really
thoroughly
unfortunate.
and
Go
deeply,
knock on their
right?
door.
Yeah.
Let
Yes,
them know.
thoroughly, deeply, a lot of water. Like, you can't barely, if it's dry, you can't overwater it, y'all. I mean, if it's sitting in water, arborvitae doesn't like that. There's a whole number of plants that don't like to just sit in water. But if it's dry, you're not going to overwater it. I mean, you could soak it as long as you wanted to. But
Yeah, and a really good method for doing that, if you don't have any kind of specialized drip irrigation system or whatever, is to simply take the garden hose and put it on the uphill side of the root ball. If it has a grade that falls away at all, put it on the opposite side and turn that hose on to a trickle.
And just let it run.
And then walk away from it. Let it run for hours. Let it really saturate and soak that ground in. If it appears to be running off at any point, you've got it running too fast. Turn it down a little bit more. You just want it to barely seep into the ground. That way you can get the entire root ball thoroughly wet, and then it will make it for an extended period of time without further attention. The specific plant you're talking about, that would be well advised of those. Hopefully, it's the fall season is a little more forgiving than, say, that during the growing season of summer. They might still be able to recover this plant or salvage it, but they won't do it if they don't act quickly.
That's true. And another, I guess, little housekeeping thought is that a lot of people, suffered the freeze that we had, and they went this spring, and then we, us especially, told people to kind of wait it out and see what regrows and what happens. And people have done that, and it's gotten into fall, which is a good planting time, and people have realized, okay, some of this stuff did come back, maybe some of it didn't. So they're starting to want to come out and buy some stuff, mainly evergreen foundation type shrubs or whatever, and they've put them in over the past couple weeks. Well, if you've done that, you need to be watering, people. Yeah, these are especially newly planted plants. It's been dry, and that little rain we got the other night did not do anything for a newly planted plant.
Absolutely not. And if you put your ear close to the ground, you hear a sucking sound. that's the earth trying to extract the moisture out of it. The good news is, and I'm trying to state this in my newsletter, is that we have moisture at depth. So the streams and creeks and rivers, all of that are in good shape, but the surface moisture just is not present. I mean, it's at such low levels. You really need to be thinking about that. And if you have to make a decision between watering your shrubs and your lawn,
it's a no-brainer, folks.
I would just let the lawn go, and it'll do what it does.
Right.
Your shrubbery really cannot recover. It has no ability once you let it go too far to recover. The lawn, while not cheap, is comparatively easy.
Yes, at the end of the day.
And these are effects that are largely a part and parcel of the El Nino effect, which has now been described as a severe El Nino. And what that means is typically we're going to get a warmer and a drier winter. But it does not mean that it will be warm and dry at all times.
For all the winter.
For all the winter. It's a trend that you have to be mindful of. So,
and what do you think the effect potentially could be? Because I do believe we're going to have some sort of volcanic eruption that's going to be massive in the northern hemisphere.
Well,
and
certainly
that dust and everything could get up into the atmosphere and change this all completely.
It's a global thing.
Yes.
It is a global event. No matter if it's in the extreme northern latitudes, it can definitely change things. And the most
jet stream
recent
tends to move down in the winter.
The most recent event was like Mount Pinatubo. It just was in the Philippines, and that was several years ago. And I think it cooled the atmosphere down a couple of degrees.
Yes.
Which definitely changes the weather
all
patterns.
The rules, yeah.
So be weather aware, be climatically aware. And this is an event that's still evolving.
We'll see.
And we will not have an ash cloud arriving to Middle Tennessee.
No.
But there will be particulate matter pretty
Could
much
change some
everywhere.
Pretty sunsets all over the northern hemisphere at some point in time.
It could do that,
Now,
but it's a high price.
Your point about the rivers and the creeks and the streams is well taken, because if you cross the Cumberland River this morning, it looks like it's almost at flood stage. I mean, it's as high as I've seen it in a long time.
That's a TVA controlled
right.
level, and they have a lot. They have complete autonomy over where that water level is. So it's the rainfall amount is a part of the calculation as far as what level of flow. They try to keep it at a specific level throughout the year. When you have excessive rain events, it does go up because they have no choice but to let it go up some. But in drier times, they're able to regulate the amount of water that flows through is such that it does not get too low.
And they need it to generate the electricity as well. So,
They do,
that's a good
and to
thing.
be able to facilitate the traffic that goes up and down the Cumberland River. While not a major tributary, there's still a fair amount of barge traffic that goes up.
You don't want to
and
make
down.
the Ingram family mad.
Well, they're not the only ones in the
No, they got
barge business,
they might
but
as well
yes.
be. Huh.
I'm going to barge in here and say, hey, Gina has a question on YouTube. Can one use flower seeds in the spring from flower heads that have been hit by the frost this fall?
Yes.
Yeah.
I sure hope so, because I'm going to sure try it.
I mean that's the natural process of seeds. Okay, we have they'll do that. They'll dry on the plant. They'll stay. If you weren't to cut them or do anything with them, they would stay up on the plant. They would release themselves somehow in any way that plants do that, either by wind or just some plants explode, like they'll explode their seeds out. So there's and then they'll lay dormant on the ground through the winter, and then they'll pop up in the spring. That's kind of how it all works. Now you won't get a 100% germination that way. Nature doesn't work that way. If they throw 10,000 seeds, you might get 1,000 to germinate, if that. It's pretty low numbers, but if you can control that a little bit better, you harvest those seeds, collect them, put them in your fridge over the wintertime, and then sow them in the spring. You'll probably have better results.
I'm going to try it both ways, Austin. I collected several coneflower seeds and a bunch of the zinnias in bags, and I'm going to keep them over the winter and try to germinate them inside, actually, over the winter. But then I took a whole bunch of the zinnia seeds and just spread them out over where we cleaned up the yard.
Oh, you'll get so many.
You'll get so many.
If the lawn boy blew off a bunch of my leaves. So, I mean, I had taken and actually put leaves on top of them to try to protect them. So,
well, let me ask you this, Josh. Why do you want to try to germinate the seeds in your house
I
at
don't
all?
know.
Like
It's just
Just an
zinnias?
experiment?
well, I mean, we had such good luck. I did it last year.
It's Josh's
Yeah.
science project.
That's right.
Okay.
You need to keep us updated on that.
Well, and my grow lights that
I was about to say,
purchased
you use grow lights.
Yeah, and I purchased. I got 3 nice little portable sets that were less than $100.
Yeah, and the great temptation for anyone germinating seedlings inside is to keep them in a room. You need a lot of light, but you need very cool temperatures.
They're in the basement.
Well, that's a
Not
good
heated.
spot.
Yeah, it's not heated. But
Hopefully they would be at most in the 50s.
Most of the time.
Preferably in the upper 40s would be better.
I can open the door. I can make that work. I can make that work.
I think
it's
you
not
can.
heated. It's not. It's a non-heated, cooled area. I mean, it's
Well,
basically
you put
just-
enough light fixtures in there, sometimes it becomes heated.
they're all LEDs.
Well,
anymore.
that helps because they don't put out much heat.
right.
Keep
And
them warm. I have zinnias all over my garden beds, and I haven't planted any seeds in probably about 2 years.
Wow.
So they just pop up. I let them, I'll cut the seed heads off and just kind of scatter them throughout the beds. That and Datura, that one comes up like crazy all over my yard now. It's a really pretty plant, angel trumpet. Poisonous, blooms at night, attracts a lot of pollinators. But that one also spreads like crazy. So let's go ahead and get into some more questions. We did have a question about watering, so let's skip back to how dry it's been. Do I need to water a newly planted tree throughout the winter?
This is a good question, actually.
Yeah.
If you're planting evergreen trees, then yes, you probably will have to water, depending on the weather. You always kind of, here in Middle Tennessee, you always have to kind of feel out the weather, whether it's dry or wet or whatever. But conifers in general typically need to stay a little bit more moist through the wintertime because they keep their foliage up and they're actively photosynthesizing. Now, deciduous plants are a little bit different. They can ease off of that water just a little bit. When a plant has no leaves, it's not actively photosynthesizing, okay? So it's kind of sitting dormant. Like we use that word all the time. And that's what they're doing. So they're Still using a little bit of water, yes, but not near as much as like during the growing season. So watering is way less over the wintertime for a deciduous tree. I'll give you the biggest tip ever, in which is right after you plant your tree, if you soak it thoroughly and properly, then you typically don't have to do too much through our winters here, okay? We can be pretty wet through the winter. We haven't started that process yet. Obviously, we're talking about drought. But for the most part, over the wintertime, we get somewhat rainy. We can get a little bit of snow every once in a while. And the plant has no leaves. It just doesn't need near as much water. So if you get the first watering done right, then you're usually in the clear for the wintertime, and you don't have to do it very much.
We just don't know if this is a usual or not.
We don't. That's Middle Tennessee for you.
It'll be a surprise.
Always.
All right, when and how to transplant creeping phlox. I like that little giggle.
That was a giggle.
That was a giggle.
I like creeping phlox. It's fantastic. Old school perennial, just reliable bloomer, and a very, very hardy plant. Okay, so
thrives on neglect.
It really does. Lives on rocks. Can creep onto a sidewalk. It's a great little plant. But when it comes to transplanting it, it's really not all that hard either. We're going to do this during dormancy. So really now is not a horrible time to do it, except for we are kind of dry. Okay, so before you decide to dig it up, you maybe a day before you dig it up, let's soak it really, really well. Okay, get the root system really nice and moist, and then after you do that day, go out the next day and then dig it up with your shovel. Get as much of the root system as you can, and quickly take it to the hole you've hopefully already dug to have it ready to be transplanted, and put it in the hole, press it in firmly, and water it. It's going to live, y'all.
That's such an important thing to remember for folks who are transplanting anything. Is it's always a good idea to assess what you're getting ready to transplant, how large the root ball is going to be, and then dig the hole first where you're going to transplant this plant to. That way you minimize the amount of time it's out of the ground. You can water it immediately once you get it back in there. And this time of year, if you take just a few pains like that, it'll never know it's been moved.
And if you take Austin's tip and you water the day before you dig, it's going to be a whole lot easier to dig that out of the ground.
That's a great tip.
And phlox is a very shallow-rooted plant, so it's really easy. When we, back in the day, used to see a lot of growers that grew it, they would just have it in like a little burlap little handle thing, and it would just be 2 or 3 inches. It would just be a little bit of soil on there, which is enough as long as you keep it watered.
I had a guest 2 days ago, which is a really good customer of ours. Mr. Hicks is his name. He buys a lot of plants from us. He's got an extremely tidy garden. This guy is like obsessed with gardening, okay? And he was talking about hostas, and hostas are a very similar plant to phlox in a way that like they're easy, okay? They don't do the same thing at all. They don't look anything alike, but they're a very hardy perennial. And he was telling me about how he dug some up, and he, as gardeners do, you typically just either forget about something or you don't get it planted or you do whatever. He dug up the root system of that hosta and he just kind of set it to the side and more or less forgot about it. Came back the next spring and he had realized that he'd never dug a hole for it, but the plant's still rooted into the earth, just sitting on top of the ground. And he didn't do anything. So like creeping phlox would be no different. You literally sit it on the ground and it would probably root. Now we don't recommend that, obviously. I've already told you how to do it better.
It's a little lumpy.
Yeah, but plants are amazing sometimes, especially, hardy perennials like that. They're amazing.
8 years ago, we took out a bunch of flowers, the ones we were just talking about. And I just had a brain cramp.
Phlox.
Not the phlox, the other one.
Hostas.
Yeah, we took out about a whole bed of them that we inherited.
It gets worse, by the way, Josh.
I know it really does. But this year we had a sprouting. I mean, they haven't had anything for 7 years, and then this year we've had a new growth of them. So we're going to leave them. We're going to let them go back.
Well, one of the things you can do that will help things to come out their very best and to do their very best at surviving, even in drought conditions, is planting with Earth Mix Garden products. Our tried and true product that's the one we recommend most frequently, and it's the biggest selling product of the Earth Mix line, is Earth Mix Landscape, and it is a premium soil conditioner. What it does is it helps to incorporate all the best things Mother Nature provides: organic material, endo and ecto mycorrhiza fungi, humic acid, Another great product to consider for that purpose. It's of a little greater density. So if you're really trying to hold moisture, using Earth Mix Supernatural Compost is another great way to go. So either of those products are great, but the entire line is 100% organic. It is designed to give you the maximum growing benefit, and that it's not just top growth above the ground, but also enhancing the establishment of your root system, which is particularly important during dry conditions. So no matter which product you choose, they're all great. Caroline's a big fan of Proganics I, which is the professional indoor growing media. They're, by the way, in any of the Earth Mix mixes, there's no peat whatsoever. Peat is not used in any Earth Mix product, so you are assured of getting something that is as environmentally friendly as possible and is renewable. So check out all over Middle Tennessee, Kentucky, Southern Ohio. I don't know if we're in Ohio yet or not, but we're working on that. Northern Alabama.
Jim Harbaugh's not for sure.
You just go to the earthmix.net map where it says Find Earth Mix, and there you'll see all the pins come up to all the locations everywhere. You can zoom in to a location near you, or you can put your address in for turn-by-turn directions to the location nearest you. Support all of the great Earth Mix sellers in the area. If you want to see a list of them, you can go down by city down below. So check that out at earthmix.net. Just remember, this success in gardening begins at the ground level when you use Earth Mix garden products. And we appreciate you using the product, the success that we know that it will help you have in gardening, and take a lot of the work out of it. So
plants, sunshine, Earth Mix. That's all you need.
Makes it pretty easy.
Yep.
Water.
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 That's two today. Okay, I'm having a moment. Okay. Another
Hey,
moment.
everybody.
Hey.
Well, let's go ahead and
What's in room with Caroline?
There you go.
How
All
about
right. Yay. So let's start on your side of the room, Tyler,
Okay.
David, and Josh. So we went with some evergreens over here. We've got juniper,
see.
cypress, and arborvitae.
And these are not just evergreens, they're coniferous evergreens, which
Bless you.
means they don't have leaves, they have needles.
They have needles. And they smell really nice too, kind of
do.
like Christmas time. So right behind David, we've got the Blue Pyramid Cypress. I have wanted one of these for a while. I haven't gotten one. They just have a magical little snowy wintertime look. So kind of blending in with the wall a little bit, but you can still see the color.
They're so near the same color, the wall and
are.
the foliage.
It's like a
striking.
subtle thing you
my
can add
head
to your
is not that
landscaping. It
color.
looks like a cloud. No, it's a good contrast with your head right there, David.
That
And
looks
then
like
we've
an
got-
Isley tag, too. on
Yep,
those.
they are
Ooh,
both Isley
okay.
back there. And then down below, we've got the Golden Mop Threadleaf Cypress. If I'm not mistaken, I feel like Austin, under the TV.
Under the
I
TV.
said down below.
Down below the
Below
TV.
over here.
Below
Sorry.
the TV.
So
There it is.
I think Austin was talking about these the other day. Were you, Austin? How you love them and how they get so big and you were pulling up pictures on the computer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I was.
And they're one of the plants that is most frequently misused in the landscape because people believe erroneously that they're going to be a little dwarf thing that's going to stay down low.
Nope.
Ha, ha, ha.
They will not. They get huge and mounding, and so give them some room or be prepared to transplant.
Yeah, the pictures Austin brought up, I mean, they were gorgeous, huge, like a waterfall, like a yellow glowing waterfall.
There you go.
Whoa.
Billowy pyramid. That's what he
Billuby,
says.
Billuby. The time change is still messing with me, y'all.
That's what it was. That's it.
That's
Okay,
it. Me and
okay.
Josh are still feeling the time change. And you know what? That's okay. Time changes are real hard. I know it seems like just an hour, but it's a lot. All right. So in front of you guys, also down in front, we've got Fire Chief Globe Arborvitae. So it's the kind of orange glowing plant that we see right behind those
Beautiful
blue Pacific
example
junipers.
of autumn
Bronzing.
color and what great color you get. And that's not. I know we're not on that segment right now, but
But it's still a little bit of color.
Conifers are the prime source of color during the dormant season.
They're absolutely gorgeous. I mean, there's a whole row of them on the lot right now, and they just draw your eye when you see them and you walk over and you're like, I absolutely want to buy those. And then in front, we've got Blue Pacific juniper. So I actually got one of these a couple weeks ago and put it in a little low terracotta pot just to have some interest on my back porch table throughout the winter. And it looks really cute and it's spilling over a little bit. I probably will do a couple more because I like it so much.
Now, a cautionary statement about that in a raised container. Juniperus conferta, which is the Blue Pacific type of junipers, they are not the most winter hardy. So you need to really make sure that if it's severe weather, you keep those watered thoroughly before you go into it. Or if it's really severe, say going below 10 degrees, you might ought to set them inside the garage or give them a little
it's not
protection.
coming in. We're going to see what happens. You know I like to experiment with plants, but I will make sure I keep it watered. But right now it looks fantastic, and we'll see how well it overwinters outside. And then over here on this side, I brought in things that I have in my garden bed that are still up after that first frost we got, and actually still looking pretty decent. So down in front, we've got a blue little stone crop sedum. I've got this in some of my mix containers. It looks fantastic right now. It's growing. It's already spilling over the side.
A great do-nothing plant.
A great do-nothing plant, correct. And then back behind, right here, I've got lamb's ear. I know I talk about this a lot, and Austin doesn't like this plant. I've loved this plant since I was a kid. It's, wow, I don't know if you guys heard that. That's how much Austin dislikes it. But mine is still up. It hasn't taken any hit yet with the frost or with the winter coming in, and it looks great. Austin looks really aggravated right now.
Yeah.
Y'all look at that face.
Deal with it. Deal with it.
Deal with it, Austin. And then
it's just got such a cool feel to it.
It does.
I mean, it's so sweet and precious.
It's got that name for a reason, and I just absolutely love mine. I planted one plant that was about this size in 2017, and now it's probably 4 by 3, and it's got some prickly pear growing up in between it. It really looks very nice. Behind it, I've got Fire Witch Dianthus. So I have this in one of my beds. Obviously, it's not blooming right now. These are actually like a late spring bloomer, so they've been done blooming for months now. But it's a really cute full sun ground cover, and mine stays up through the winter. It might start to look a little bit sparse, but it still adds some interest and some color in the front of my beds through the winter. And right now, it looks fantastic. It doesn't have any damage. I haven't cleaned it at all. It's just sitting pretty. And then behind us, we've got a little bit of height. We've got some upright phlox. So last Saturday, I actually took a picture and sent it to some people. My bright eyes phlox, which is another type of upright phlox, is still in bloom, and it's blooming and looking great. I did deadhead it about a month ago, so that's why it is, but those flowers didn't take a hit when we got that first freeze. And then behind, we've got Russian sage. Not in bloom right now, but still a really pretty color with the leaves.
And smells good.
And smells really good. It will get real big, though. So just know it will get big and kind of take over, but I'm a fan of it. So that's what's in room today, y'all.
That's what shears are for anyway.
Yep.
That's right.
Now, Austin, these fire chiefs say they are going to, if someone were looking for something smaller, like you said, the mistake with the mop heads, these are going to stay relatively small according to the label, right?
They do, yeah. And actually, you know, a lot of labels can be misleading a little bit every once in a while, but that one's actually not all that misleading. The fire chief stays pretty small. And
that is an improved cultivar of the old Rheingold arborvitae.
Rheingold?
The Rheingold would get a little big, and these, you could just tell by the growth of they're a little flatter looking, so that definitely gives you something to use on a spot where a lot of people erroneously use gold mops, where they're going to get too big. Almost certainly.
Oh, they will.
I've seen them eating houses before. And driveways.
There's some big ones.
Is there a smaller, shaggy, yellowish shrub that could, not fool people? And they could plant it closer to their house?
We did have some of the golden Blue Pacific junipers a while back, did we not? And
we did.
But that one actually just stays on the ground. It doesn't really grow up enough. So
a little too small.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little too small.
It is.
But great in a container like Caroline's talking about using, something that gets it up off the ground and gives it a way to spill over the edge.
Hey, I had an idea a couple weeks ago.
What's that, Austin?
I think it's a great idea, but I'm a little biased. The creeping junipers that we sell, like Caroline brought in the studio today, the Blue Pacific or the Golden Pacific juniper. I grow one called All Gold juniper.
I've got it
y'all,
too. It's great.
They come a lot of times in little 1 gallons. Okay, we sell them for like anywhere from $14.99 to $19.99.
$10.99.
Sometimes $10.99, depending on the grower. And a small little 1 gallon. But what I was realizing is that we don't have hardly any plants that we put in hanging baskets through the wintertime.
Ooh.
Why would we not put a 1 gallon juniper in a hanging basket and let it just spill over, put a red bow on it, call it Christmas, a Christmas hanging basket?
It makes perfect sense. It makes
really
perfect
does.
sense.
Why don't we do this?
Well, we're going.
We
to
should be
do
doing
it.
this.
It's going to happen.
We're gonna see something in studio in the coming weeks.
You know
I'm
what?
pretty
We're doing
sure.
it.
We're gonna have
Caroline,
hanging
we're taking those
baskets
Blue
everywhere.
Pacifics right after this, and we're going to pot them up. And I hope you got some
Okay.
hanging baskets.
I
Christmas
do.
balls
I
on
have some
them.
hanging
Challenge.
baskets.
Christmas balls.
Put some magnolia leaves in it.
Oh.
I mean, there you go.
I think they're
mean-
called ornaments, Austin.
Yes. they're
Christmas.
Ornament.
Either way,
You're the only one that picked up on that.
Tyler, quit calling me
Christmas.
out.
Yeah,
Keep
Christmas.
calling them out.
Christmas balls.
Yes.
It has too many
Christmas-
different interpretations.
Christmas
so-
balls in your junipers, hanging baskets. It's all great, y'all.
Okay,
fun of
hey,
how I talk?
now you talked.
Now
speaking
with
of
Christmas balls.
speaking of talking, Austin, earlier at the top of the program, you
All right.
you were mentioned that you were formulating some thoughts about things going on in your yard.
Okay.
So I think it's time to.
Are y'all ready for this? I'm a little heated. I'm a little up. Oh, there's a fly on the screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're being attacked.
I'm mad at all sorts of things. But no, okay, I have a serious question for everybody. All the viewers, I need y'all to help me out so y'all know I've got beautiful petunias, okay? The beautiful petunias that I have in the ground, the wave petunias, have waved, and they've waved goodbye with their blooms, okay? So the first freeze last week, we talked about petunias being very hardy, and they are. But all the blooms got whacked, okay, y'all? Just whacked. But the foliage is still up and really, really pretty. Josh is trying to kill flies over here, and he's distracting me. This is a really important question.
Austin.
What?
Sit down, Josh.
So, I've got petunias that are up, people. They got plenty of foliage. They look really, really good. And they might bloom again, okay? But I've got a predicament. I want to clean my bed. As we talked last week, I'm a tidy gardener. But I can't clean my bed until I get the petunias up, okay? So, do I leave the petunias to see if they're going to send me a new bloom cycle and make me happy, or do I go ahead and get rid of the petunias because the season's pretty much done and go ahead and clean out my beds? Now, a quick little disclaimer. If I do clean up my petunias and get them out of there
We know what's
and
coming.
clean up the bed, it will expose my 14 dead boxwoods
Oh, no.
that I'm still leaving
they
for
are
some weird reason.
Going to be exposed eventually.
So, what do y'all think? Take the petunias, leave the petunias to see if they bloom again. We got like another week of really nice weather. They're probably going to rebloom.
You said they might have buds on them, right?
I think they do have some tucked in buds. I was trying to look at them this morning. But then the rest of my bed is so leaf filled and yuck.
Can you not just work around them?
Not really, David. That's the problem. They kind of line the whole front of my bed, and where I have to leaf blow, they would like get caught in them.
Okay, I think it's time that Austin faces reality.
Oh,
David.
Josh, that's,
no.
that's a tough one.
I really do. I think it's time, Austin. You got to snatch the boxwoods too.
But I just
Oh,
wanna
no.
wait
No,
until
those are staying
spring.
up.
For some,
not time
all
to
of my horticultural thoughts in my head tells me these boxwoods are not coming back. They've been dead this whole season. But then just an inkling inside my heart
They're the
says
Franken boxwoods.
they might
They're
come
gonna-
back from the roots next spring. What if they were just like, look, I
They're
got
not
got
gonna-
Like my
whacked.
hostas that come back after 8 years.
they
right?
just-
Have you
Okay.
ever
That's what I'm
seen-
saying.
When have you ever seen that happen?
I never have, David.
It could happen.
I never have.
You're
But I
hoping
still-
against
I-
hope is what you're doing.
So much hope. Look, they just took a year off, y'all. They got hurt. They were tired. They're like, look,
got
I need
their
a year.
feelings hurt.
Set
I need a
date,
year.
Set a deadline. Okay.
And then this spring,
Set a
they're going to come
deadline.
back from the roots. They're going to do it.
It's going to happen.
No, they're not.
But you know what you could do? You could get some very tiny ornaments and decorate them.
Some Christmas balls?
Some Christmas balls.
Tiny Christmas balls.
Some tiny
Wow.
Christmas balls. Hang them all over those. Maybe
Little
not
bubble
dead
lights on 'em,
boxwoods.
They sure
yeah,
look
some
good.
tiny little twinkle lights. A little bit of tinsel. How cute would that be?
I'm still a fan
good
of
point.
spraying the green stuff.
I'm not spraying no green stuff, Tyler.
Are you sure?
If you want to keep them and you want to
Donna Brooks says,
Pretend
let
they're
it
alive.
go, Austin.
Let it go. Let what
it go? Let it go.
What does she mean? Does she mean let my petunias go? Or does she let?
I think she's probably saying yes to
Let
both.
Dig up
all
the-
of it go.
Yeah,
Probably.
let it all go.
You're probably right.
Okay.
I'm not mad at you.
That's okay.
Well, we want to know what you all think, so
Just keep on sending it in.
keep on sending. Even when we're not live, keep sending it in.
Just
We
send
will
them
see
in.
them.
I need to
We'll
know.
take a poll.
Okay.
I'll put a poll up in our Instagram story. So if you don't follow Gardening
that's a
Inside
good
Out,
idea.
Greg
go
from
ahead and
Corinth
give us
wants
one.
to know something, and I think he wants a further explanation. Can you give a more thorough, less subjective definition of thorough watering for plants such as crepe myrtle, boxwood, magnolia, dogwood, and azalea? He's in Corinth, Mississippi, which is Middle East kind
Yeah,
of.
and they are in a worse drought than we
Yes.
are in. So, Greg, long and slow. We
Yep.
talked at the top of the
All
show
of them.
about just placing a hose on the uphill side of a plant at a trickle. Another thing, if you've got a larger area of plants, is to purchase one of these leaky pipes type of soaker hoses that you can weave in and around and just connect it, and it will drip water. It's very non-spectacular, but it's quite effective, and it will not let the water be applied so quickly so that it will run off. What you're trying to do is effect the maximum amount of water you can absorb into the ground without anything running off, and those give you a really good opportunity. The conventional type of soaker hoses that spray up in the air are
worthless as far as I'm concerned.
you almost have to turn them with the
Upside
holes
down.
pointed down, and then they don't really work all that
Well,
well.
and
So if you're trying to conserve water, you're going to wind up evaporating more into the atmosphere than you are
Right.
soaking into the ground. So the leaky pipes type are really good for that. Or you could set up an overhead, just an impact type sprinkler and run it back and forth. At the lowest pressure it will function at. What's that again, Josh? Okay.
Yeah.
So there's that.
They make rings for those weeping hoses too. I mean, that you can put around certain
around
trees.
a specific tree or something. But again, as Austin mentioned earlier in the program, deciduous plants don't have the dramatic needs like conifers do. Even broadleaf plants are going to have greater needs than the deciduous plants because they don't really go completely dormant. They still transpire moisture. Therefore, their needs will continue on. It's just that the conifers are much less adept at extreme drought conditions, and they will not recover from it. Broadleafs, unless you've got boxwoods in front of your house,
that are dead.
will usually recover.
Now, Miriam, MRP Mims,
Miriam, what's up?
she's saying gardening is about hope. Keep the boxwoods, keep the petunias.
Yes.
Hope,
Miriam!
Hope springs eternal.
Look, Miriam's got the voice of reason, so I'm.
Does.
You're wanting a certain answer.
Yeah,
David.
you're going to
Okay.
do what you want to do anyway. I mean, I don't think any of us think otherwise.
We have three different differing takes on the Bates page.
Oh.
Mary is saying dig them up, pot them,
No.
clean your bed, then put the pots back.
Oh my God, that
That's a
seems like a
lot.
lot.
Then we've got Beth says leave them,
Okay.
and then Barbara says pull them up.
Oh, wow.
Barb.
Barb.
Emily says
Barbara
keep the
gossip.
petunias until another freeze.
Okay.
Yeah, we want to see if those bloom,
Oh, yeah.
Austin.
I
So
like
leave
that.
those.
The
But if you-
boxwoods, we know for certain, will not be more dead
Then they are.
a month from now than they will be at this moment. So I would kind of go in favor of that. Let the petunias see if they come back out again. I mean, you got nothing to lose at this point. Nothing.
I don't. The only thing
You
is,
just
I
wanna
get back.
clean it.
My bed is so dirty right now. The leftover hibiscus blooms are yuck and mush, and the sticks are up, just leafless.
You're telling me
and
you
annoying.
can't get behind there and clean any of that up and kind of satisfy that need?
You're
for
right,
tidy?
David. I could a little probably, but it's.
Our boy Colin says leave them.
Yeah.
Thanks, Colin.
What does
Peggy
it hurt?
Anchors is saying leave them.
Okay.
I think leave them.
All right.
But you know, if he needed to replace something, David, like boxwoods, compact boxwoods, what would be a good place for Austin
Well,
to
you
go?
know, we would recommend Bates Nursery and Garden
So
Center.
would I.
That's where we are at this very moment. We're live from the green room at Bates Nursery and Garden Center, where we have been beautifying Nashville since 1932. That lady right there, my grandmother, Bessie
Nanny.
Bates, the founder of our company, and soon to be a feature on the website, which I'm very excited about. our upcoming Ask Bessie feature that will be on our website. Tyler is working with a information provider so we can really give an enhanced level of information with regard to whatever you're talking about. And I think you're going to find that Bessie's really knows her stuff.
You're hooking up
she's
with
definitely
Elon and,
she's to the point, and she knows her stuff.
Okay.
She's, from what my early conversations with her
So anyway,
have been good, but she hasn't offered to give me any baked goods or
Well,
any life advice.
I think
She used to
beyond
make a great
plants.
slurry fertilizer too, doesn't she?
We might be able to incorporate some of that into it, because I do have some knowledge about her firsthand from the cat head biscuits back in the day. It's part of the reason why I have struggled with weight gain my entire life. Is I used to go eat breakfast with her at 5 a.m. and then come home and eat breakfast again.
If she sent you out to get the switch, she knew what switch that
She
had
never,
to happen.
she not once ever did. You could do no wrong about her.
Just
Anyway,
looks like a
on
Right.
back to the plants and
Okay.
what Bates Nursery is all about. I'm very proud, obviously, of my grandmother and the legacy that she has provided for us, and we really continue to work at that. The entire staff we have here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center, we all work at a variety of aspects to continue to enhance this treasure that we've been presented. And the best way we can do that is to bring you the best information we can possibly bring, to bring you the best plants we can possibly bring, and to give you engaging expertise like we've got here in the studio this morning, to give you good information to help you solve your unique landscape situation and help you to get the right plants in the right place the first time. No matter who you talk to here at Bates Nursery, you're going to get that kind of information. You may notice today that our perennial area looks a little cleared out. We've got an event happening Monday night for this incredible Bates staff that we have here. So we're looking forward to that. The perennials are still there. They've just been moved to an adjacent area. So we invite you to come out, check that out. Caroline's been putting up lights down there. So it's going to be a very festive, unusually festive look down there to be devoid of plants. But really nice area. Come out and see us. We are open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. till 4 p.m., Sundays noon until 4.
Yes.
And, of course, you can check us out anytime online at batesnursery.com, where, again, we've got an enhanced level of information coming soon to your browser on your website.
Cool.
So check it out, batesnursery.com, beautifying Nashville since 1932, Bates Nursery and Garden Center, and we appreciate you giving us a moment to talk about that.
Yep.
All right.
Do you want to bring up Colin's comment about that was on the YouTube channel?
You mean if you leave him, we still get to play this game?
Yes, Austin. If you leave.
If I leave and we still get to play this game, okay.
The Justin drama continues.
The saga.
And
Drama.
Yeah, and
What if
maybe
they
another
come back
poll
from their
later.
roots, y'all? What if they just regenerate from the roots?
If a frog had wings, he'd fly.
Right.
Austin, why don't you dig them up and
No.
look at the roots?
Yes.
They
Why would I
No,
discolor.
leave them.
No, they.
But also,
Yeah.
let's get to some more questions.
Yeah,
I
we do.
know
We have
this
more
is a fun
questions.
thing
Right.
to talk about, but
I'm
y'all,
s-
we have so many
we gotta
questions
move
right
on.
now. We got to talk about pruning. So Miriam is asking, should arrowwood viburnum be pruned? I don't want to ruin the branching, but I am unsure.
Hey, Miriam. Good to see you. Glad you're here. I don't see you. You're just here.
She's
anyway,
seeing you, though.
Okay, so arrowwood viburnum, it does bloom on old wood. Okay, so know that. If any pruning you do right now, you're going to lessen your bloom set for next spring. So generally, if you are going to prune it, you're going to do it right after it blooms in the spring, okay? And there's absolutely nothing wrong with pruning an arrowwood viburnum. They get large. I mean, they just do. Most all viburnum gets very large, and they can get a little unruly. So if you got to do it, but do it after they bloom. Let's let it chill right now.
And unless something is a fruiting plant, the best time to prune them, without respect to what kind of plant it is right after they flower. If it's a flowering plant, right after it flowers, it's the best time to do it. And you can usually prune them rather severely at that point, should you choose to.
Yeah, they're actively growing. They're ready to go. So once you prune them, they're ready to bust right back. So
Right back.
Do it,
Bust a
Miriam.
move.
All right, hydrangeas.
Oh.
We have a question asking, when is the best time to prune limelight hydrangeas? It's very happy in its spot.
Good. That's very good. I'm proud of you.
So
Cut them
proud.
back over the winter. Doesn't really matter when. If you want to cut them back now, sure. If you want to wait till January, sure. Anytime during dormancy is the time to prune those. They're differing from viburnum to where they bloom off new wood. So it doesn't matter if you cut them to the dirt, they're going to bloom. So get them cleaned up, get them tidied up, take any stems that are weak and not productive, get those out of there, keep nice healthy stems, and you'll see a beautiful flowering shrub next summer.
They're so easy. I'd say they're the easiest hydrangea out there.
Oh, they are. I think they're the easiest by far.
Josh is affixed on the flies.
He is.
He's
It's okay. We're fixed on the show.
We are. So pruning pansies or cutting them back. We have a viewer that's asking, they planted some in the early fall and they're already getting leggy. So can they go ahead and cut it back to get a rebloom?
Yes. Legginess is ugly. I can't stand leggy pansies.
He's mad about it.
I am mad about leggy pansies. Okay,
Probably makes
they're
you
the
think
worst.
about your bed again.
Shut up, Tyler.
Whoa.
Okay, so leggy.
We're getting a little sassy this
We're getting
morning,
heated.
y'all.
We're heated this morning. Okay,
It's the time change.
Leggy pansies. Okay, yeah, we got to cut the leg out. You got to. They're going to stay leggy if you don't do it. So you may as well go in there, shorten them down to where you get them down to, the foliage that is tight. And then once you do that, this next week and hopefully a week after that, will be some nice temperatures to get them to send new leaves and then send new blooms atop of that a little bit tighter. I don't know why they're leggy already though. I don't know if they're not getting enough sun. Maybe that's why they're a little leggy.
Yeah,
That's
one of
weird.
the most difficult things to get people to do if they are buying really big grown annuals of any type, but for this season, pansies for sure, is to pinch the back a little bit. They just don't. I don't want to lose my flowers. Yes, but in the long run, it's going to be much better. So that's probably the most difficult thing for people to do, is to sacrifice growth and foliage in the short term to really be able to gain it in the long term. Part of the difficulty that you're talking about, Austin, is if you cut them now, it's going to take them a lot longer to reset bud and get those breaks, because we are moving into the cooler part of the season.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We are. All right, garlic question. Speaking of cooler part of the season, I tried to mulch my garlic with straw and it's already sprouting. Will it be okay?
This is a really good question, okay?
It is.
I got to say, you planted your garlic a little early. Next year, we'll do it a little bit later, okay? I've planted garlic when I used to work at MTSU at their organic vegetable farm. I planted garlic in the snow one year.
Wow.
Like, it was dormant cold in the snow. It was a muddy mess. But anyway.
And he walked up and downhill both ways.
With no shoes.
With no shoes.
Yes.
It was hard. It was very hard.
Got an orange for Christmas.
It wasn't that bad. But your garlic is up right now, okay, because it was planted a little early and warm weather will make it sprout. Now, do I think it's going to die? No. I think it's just going to sit green, and probably that greenest, most growth that comes up is going to be injured by the cold weather, and it's going to look a little not great through the wintertime, okay? But is it going to kill the garlic totally? No, I don't think so. I think it'll sit through the winter. It'll look bad, but then when spring temps warm up and the sun starts coming out next spring, you should see new foliage pop up through that old green growth, and it should still be okay. But like I said, next year, let's just plant that a little bit later.
With a little giggle at the end. Right, so in our No Down stories that we put up on Thursday, we did feature a tree in it that had beautiful red fall foliage. I mean, Tyler was all about it. He was like, we got to walk over here and
I was
look at
bummed
it.
you didn't do it in the intro, but we got it at the
Sorry,
end.
Tyler, we let you down. So we have a question about that. Is that amazingly beautiful black gum tree a native?
Yeah, black gums are native. They're native to the southeastern parts of the world.
Black gum Tupelo.
Yeah, you get that Tupelo honey.
Nyssa sylvatica.
Yes,
For those.
very. It's a water loving plant.
Yep.
Okay, so it can do that, and it rivals maples with their fall color, if not better. I don't know if it's better. Year
It's
to year,
just
it's
a
different.
punchy red,
different.
orange.
It
Yeah,
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think though it is a different looking tree, and I think it's one of those that is worth consideration in any landscape where you want a medium sized kind of tree. They will get fairly large, but they don't grow extremely fast. So you can have a really great, interesting look for most of the growing season.
Yeah. We have some really nice ones right now, too. That was just a few, but we got some really big ones. Some big old 30 gallons coming in like 10 foot tall with a beautiful spread. They're nice. Come get you one.
Come get you one. Our tree lot is full right now. We haven't talked much about the nursery this morning. But like we talked about last week, we're still getting trucks in, and we have, the lot's just full and gorgeous.
It is.
All the lines are straight. All the plants look great. Come on out and get you some stuff.
Yep.
Advice on overwintering lemon tree indoors.
Get it, Caroline.
Get it, Caroline. All right, so I do put mine out in the spring and summer. I was going to say spring and fall, and then I bring it in the winter. So when I bring it in the winter, for one, you have to make sure you have plenty of sunlight. That's going to be the biggest key to keeping this lemon thriving and happy. So I always put mine, I've got a south-facing sliding glass door. I put it there and it does just fine. And mine actually blooms indoors once I bring it in. Now with those blooms happening, you do have to water it a little bit more. I find out of any of my house plants, my lemon tree, I have to water it a lot more than any of my other ones that transition to indoors through the winter, because with my heat on, it dries out a lot and it just seems to be absorbing more and more water, I think, because it's blooming and setting fruit. So bring it in. It smells absolutely amazing.
Yep.
If you haven't smelled a lemon tree before, to me it's one of the best plant.
Smells like a lemon tree.
Smells like a lemon tree. It has this light citrusy scent, of course, because it is a lemon tree, and it's just something happy to have in the winter. Really inspect it for pests. I know we talk about that a lot when you bring your houseplants in. But that one in particular, my citrus trees always get spider mites or mealybugs when I put them outside. So I usually spend a good amount of time cleaning them and inspecting them, because I would say about 75% of the time when I put them out, they do get a pest. So if you want to avoid that pest, you can keep them indoors all year long as they've got plenty of sunlight. You can also supplement with the grow light. That is also an option.
Hey, wouldn't you say that when they're in bloom, they a lot of times just shed leaves?
Yes.
I've seen my mother's had a lemon tree for years, and whenever it's in full bloom over the winter time, typically it has no leaves at all. It's just energy to blooms.
Exactly, it sends that, and it's also, I think, the plant's attempt to bring in as much light into the future fruiting area as possible. So by shedding off some of that extra foliage, it stops the shading effect that it might have on that fruit, in which, of course, it needs the sunlight to ripen properly.
My key lime is currently doing just that.
I know. That's what they do.
Limes.
Yeah. And you know what I think the blooms smell like?
What?
Fruit Loops.
They do.
They smell like Fruit Loops. Exactly like Fruit Loops.
Lantana
Come
smells
smell.
a little bit more like Fruit Loops.
Huh?
Which color Fruit Loop?
All of them.
All of them combined.
Oh, okay.
If you crush one of the leaves, it's
Fruit Loopy.
You can't deny it. It's Flute Loops and tricks.
It's that daggone hour again, getting us again.
Yeah.
Yep. You can. Yeah. Crushing the lemon tree leaves, lime tree leaves smells, so good.
It does.
And our final question of the morning, we had somebody asking, so you guys have been talking about when to plant. It's not too late to plant a lot. And they're just asking, basically, is any time a good plant or good time to plant?
And no, I wouldn't say so. Not based on me personally. I'm not going to go plant a large tree in the dead of the summer. No. I got to water that thing way too much. That's why we were talking about earlier with large deciduous trees. We do it during dormancy when they don't have leaves. That's when they need the least amount of water. So that's the least amount of work for me to do. I'm not trying to be watering a large tree.
You can, but
you can.
You are making a lot of work for yourself.
You are. Exactly. So that's when we typically do that. I avoid planting most things in the dead of the summer, but dead of the winter is a different story. That's actually a good time to plant.
I love planting.
Only when the ground is frozen solid, and how much of that actually occurs.
Rarely.
I can remember as a kid growing up in the landscape business that we would go out and plant where you had to use a pick to break through the top couple of inches of ground that was frozen to get to the unfrozen ground beneath. We planted stuff all winter. It never had any negative effect whatsoever. So here you can plant year-round if you choose to and you're willing to maintain.
Exactly.
All right. Good job answering all the questions today. I think that's the first time in a long time we've gotten to every single question that came in.
Nice.
Yeehaw.
That's good.
Gina said, I concur with Miriam. I have two particular boxwoods that look horrible and they flank a doorway. I'm leaving them until spring and will then decide.
Yeah.
So
Well, there's no
a-
reason not to defer that decision. It's not going to change anything, no matter how deep your denial runs, Austin.
That's a river in Egypt, David.
Yeah.
So annoying.
It's okay though. Maybe they'll come back from the roots.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Oregon, decorate them for the holidays.
I'm going to have to.
It'd be so cute. How many do you have?
14.
14.
How many times am I going to say it?
14 tiny Christmas trees.
That's a lot of work.
Christmas bushes.
Can you
Put
do the
Christmas
the-
balls all over them?
The 14 days of Christmas this year. Count them down, baby. One a day. Just take them out.
I almost slapped you. I was so excited about that.
Five
not doing that.
golden dead trees. All righty, folks. Hey, folks, the music means that this edition of Gardening Inside Out is coming to a close.
Yes, it is.
But next Saturday morning, right here from Bates Nursery Garden Center and the Green Room Studios here.
Hey, if you're
Yes.
if you're watching right now, of course you are,
Yes, you are.
and you haven't subscribed, we ask you do so.
Please.
And maybe tell your friends about it. We want to extend this program out to as many folks as possible.
Watch
So
for the
thank you
updates
for
and the
watching
podcast
today.
during the week.
Yeah.
It's great stuff to see out there. Hey, happy Veterans Day. Salute a veteran if you know one. Think about one if you don't. He's not around anymore. Hey, and we'll see you next Saturday morning right here for more Gardening Inside Out.